telling the time o'clock.
This is called an analog clock, and as you can see, there are the numbers 1 through to 12 on the clock face. An analog clock has two hands. We call the long hand the minute hand, and we call the short hand the hour hand. When the minute hand is pointing to the number 12 on the clock face, we say it is something o'clock. The number that the hour hand is pointing to will tell us what hour we are in. Right now, the hour hand is pointing at the number 12. So the time on the clock is 12 o'clock. This is called a digital clock. The digits on the left will tell us the hour that we're in. The digits on the right tell us how many minutes have passed the hour. The time on both the analog clock and the digital clock both say 12 o'clock. Since there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, let's have a look at what happens when the minute hand moves clockwise around the clock. The minute hand is pointing to the 12, so it is something o'clock. The hour hand is pointing at the number 1, so the time is 1 o'clock. Let's watch the clock fast forward another 60 minutes. What time is it?
It is 2 o'clock.
Try to remember the basics. When the minute hand is pointing at the number 12, it is something o'clock. So then look at the hour hand to tell you what that something o'clock is.
The time is 7 o'clock. It is 11 o'clock. The time is 3 o'clock. It is 6 o'clock. The time is 8 o'clock. It is 4 o'clock. The time is 10 o'clock. It is 5 o'clock. The time is 9 o'clock.
Here are the two hands for our clock face. Remember that the long hand is called the minute hand and the shorter hand is called the hour hand. From our last video, we already know that when the minute hand is pointing to the number 12, we say it is something o'clock. Because when the minute hand is pointing at the number 12, that means that no minutes have passed the hour. We also already know that the number that the hour hand is pointing to will tell us what hour we are in. So what is the time on the clock?
is 2 o'clock.
Take notice that the minutes section on the digital clock says 0. This means that 0 minutes have passed the hour. Here is a time fact. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So that means when the minute hand does a full rotation around the clock face, 60 minutes has passed, and it will take us into the new hour. In this case, it is now 3 o'clock. Now let's see what happens when the minute hand travels halfway around the clock. Since the minute hand has traveled only halfway around the clock, it is now pointing at the number 6. Now we already know that one full rotation of the minute hand is equal to 60 minutes. So that means that half a rotation is equal to 30 minutes because half of 60 minutes is 30 minutes. That's also why when the minute hand is pointing to the 6, we say it is half past something because the minute hand only went halfway around the clock. That is also why on the digital clock it says 30, because it indicates 30 minutes has passed the hour. Now let's have a look at where the hour hand is pointing. As you can see, the hour hand is right in between the numbers 3 and 4. This means that it has passed 3 and has not yet reached the number 4. That is why we say it is half past 3 or 3:30. Let's watch the minute hand do a full rotation from where it is now. So we can see that the minute hand is pointing to the number 6, which means it is half past something. The hour hand is in between the numbers 4 and 5, which means that it has gone past the 4 and has not yet reached the number 5. So the time is half past 4, or 4:30. Now that you have learned how to read half past times, let's practice reading the times on the clock coming up.
Half past 10 or 10:30. Half past 7 or 7:30. Half past 1 or 1:30. Half past 8 or 8:30. Half past 11 or 11:30. Half past 2 or 2:30. Half past 5 or 5:30. Half past 12 or 12:30. 9:30 or 9:30. Half past 6 or 6:30.